If you want to be free, I mean well and truly free, if you want to be able to travel anywhere in the world, live wherever you want, and then move from that place when the situation on the ground doesn't seem so favorable to you, maybe the government makes new rules and regulations, maybe there's a war, maybe there's a pandemic, whatever it is, if you want to have the ability to be able to do that and move around at your free will and take your family with you, then the first thing you have to think about is how you're going to be able to finance that. You don't want to have an income stream that is tied to one location. If you have something that is tied to one location, that means that you, in a way, are also tied to that location. What you need to do is create an online income stream so that you can achieve that goal. Of course, you can create a business that operates in one country and lives somewhere else. Many people do, but most of those people are already wealthy. They already have the infrastructure, the systems, the staff, the team in order to run that organization or that business in one country while they live somewhere else. If you were just getting started at this, if you were just creating an income, if you were just creating wealth, that is not what you want to do, because you'll be tied to that location for a long period of time before you achieve escape velocity. Escape velocity is really the idea of being able to make enough money so that you can change your location, change your environment, and have enough money to maintain it. So if you want to be well and truly free, you need to create an income stream. It has to be online and it has to be remote. This way you can move around, go wherever you want, and you can choose to go somewhere based on the situation on the ground. Likewise, if you want to buy property in any of these emerging markets or any offshore market, then you need cash flow. You can't just rely on debt funding your way across the property market. In my opinion, that's a very risky model. Your money might get tied up in properties and you'll be asset rich instead of cash rich. What we want to do is create cash flow so that we can fund those properties and therefore be both cash rich and asset rich. So, how can you do it? Well, in this video, I'm going to walk you through 3 realistic ways for you to achieve that goal. So the first way to create an online income stream is the same path that I followed, which is to be an employee first, delivering a service to an employer, learning skills, and then taking that skill set and delivering a service online. Now, some people will start off as a freelancer. This way, they can have multiple jobs, multiple people can hire them, and it's basically like being an employee, except you're working with multiple bosses. If you're starting from ground zero and you have a skill, this is the best way for you to start, because a lot of people don't have a skill. Even if they've been employed for the last 5 years, they have absolutely no idea what to do. If that's you, don't worry, I'm going to walk you through a few things you can do. But if you're watching this video right now and you know that you have a skill that most people don't, that is the best way that you can start. This way, instead of having just one boss paying you a monthly salary, you can have 3, 5, 10 bosses, depending on how much time you can invest in each one. And each one of those bosses will be paying you a salary. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, this path follows a natural progression. You go from being an employee with just one boss to a freelancer with multiple bosses. And once you get results being able to deliver a service and people are happy with what you do, you can then productize that service and become more of an agency owner. Now, some people skip this and go straight from being an employee to an agency owner, and you're welcome to do that. If you don't have any skills, that's a good place to start. That's what I did. I didn't have any skills when I was an employee. I could only sell things. I could only do a little bit of marketing. I worked in business development, but at the time it was difficult for me to really understand how I could deliver that as a service. I didn't want to cold call people for 5 different organizations. It didn't make any sense. So it depends on the skill that you have. If you are like me and you can't think of a skill, or you believe that you don't have any skills, then you can skip all of those steps and go straight to agency owner. The problem with this though is that you're going to have to learn very quickly, because in order to deliver a service as an agency owner, especially one that you don't know how to deliver, you have to hire the right people. Your team is so valuable. So you need to know how to hire people, how to manage those people, and how to ensure that they actually get the work done. So essentially what you will be doing here is finding contractors online. Most of them will probably be offshore. When I first started, most of my staff were from the Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, and you are going to use their skills and their time to deliver the service. And so as an agency owner, that means that you have to charge enough for your services so that you can pay those team members as well as keeping some money for yourself. Hopefully that makes sense. That's the service provider model. Employee, freelancer, agency. Now, the second income path is when you are delivering information rather than services. And the natural progression of delivering information is typically informational products, which you can sell, at scale, because once you've made it once, you don't have to keep making it again. For example, if you create a PDF with valuable information in that PDF, you can sell that PDF to thousands of people every week, every month, and you don't have to keep putting in work to make it again. Hopefully that makes sense. So informational products is one pathway that is ultra scalable, but you actually have to be able to deliver valuable information. The difficult thing about this is that so much information is available for free online. So you have to package it in a way that makes you and your knowledge unique. And it doesn't just have to be PDFs, it could be courses, it could be challenges, it could even be coaching and consulting, which is the natural progression from information. This way you can charge high ticket prices to work one-on-one with people, because often someone might buy a low ticket informational product from you and then want more customized help. This way you can sell low ticket info products. Those info products work to build trust with your customers, and then a percentage of those people will hire you for some customized help. This is a highly scalable business model, far more scalable than the services model that I mentioned earlier. But the problem with this is that it takes time to get there. With services, all you have to do is create the basic infrastructure, and then you can start messaging people and try and get them on the phone and sell them that way. When it comes to informational products, usually you have to spend a little bit of money to run ads, or you have to have a good following already. So if you're starting from ground zero and you have no social media following, it can be quite difficult to sell information, coaching, or consulting straight away. You're going to have to work on it for a little bit, creating content over a period of time, maybe running ads, DMing people. You have to be a bit patient with it. Like I said, it's really scalable. So if you're good at making content or you already have a social media following already, this is a good path to take. And of course, you can always progress into informational products, coaching and consulting from the freelancer position. So you can go from employee, freelancer, agency owner, and then through that experience, you can then sell knowledge and information. That's the typical path most agency owners will follow. In fact, it's the path that I followed myself. I spent years running an agency, and then from that experience, I can then help other people build their own online business. And you can do the same with your own skill set and knowledge. Now, the third pathway to creating online income is to sell software, digital tools, or apps, or something of that nature. Usually you would create these things because you've already got experience doing something manually. You realize how long it can take or how difficult it is. And so you take that manual experience and package it into a software or an app or an AI agent or something like that. I'm not a technically minded person, but this is the natural progression of how things will typically look. Maybe you've already built apps and software before, and you can jump straight into doing this and skip all the other stuff. As you can imagine, these are highly scalable, far more scalable than info products or delivering a service. But the problem is that it requires upfront capital and investment, a really talented team, and maybe a lot of your time. Like I said, this often works best as an evolution from your service. So from your experience of delivering a service as an agency owner, you might realize that there's gaps in the market that could easily be solved with a digital solution like a piece of software. What you want to do is see a problem in the market, something that people are spending manual time on, and then turn that into an automated tool that clients can use independently, and they'll pay you every month to use that tool. So those are the three pathways that I recommend that you go down, depending on your skill level and your current experience, if you want to create an online income stream so that you can be totally and fully free. Just start with what will get you cash flow now and then evolve over time. But it doesn't matter what pathway you choose, because at the end of the day, you're still going to have to sell something. So my advice would be to learn as much as you can about marketing and sales, because those are the two things that you need no matter what path you go down. If you build anything, create anything, or want to deliver any kind of service or piece of information, you're not going to do it at all if you don't know how to market yourself and sell it. Another thing as well is that a lot of people try and skip these steps. They see software as being this really scalable business model where everyone can get rich. But the thing is, that can totally backfire. There's plenty of people that build software or apps or tools that are unable to sell it because they didn't have the experience to identify a real actual need in the market for that piece of software. So rather than skip all those steps, sometimes it is better for you to sell your time, then sell your insight, and from that experience, sell systems. And for most people, this is the most logical path. Now, guys, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I hope this has been valuable to you, and I'll see you in the next one.